Hey, we should really cover the border because if he escapes to Pakistan, we'll never get him. Nah, it's fine. We don't want to ruin the relationship with allies. How does that make sense? Someone explain that to me. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, when I heard that, I was just like... And now that I'm thinking about it, after seeing the video, it almost seems like you were in on it.
After 2 days of climbing in the thin air, the 4 American operators reached their vantage point, staring into the Milawa Valley in eastern Afghanistan. Scattered across the rocky floor and cut into the mountain walls is a web of trenches, bunkers, and fortified caves. Osama bin Laden dreams of making his final stand in the Tora Bora mountains. His Al-Qaeda fighters have created a fortress fit for the purpose, but for the men of CIA Team Jawbreaker, it's open season. Their Afghan guides defend the approaches to the peak, as Team Sergeant Joe O'Keefe, an Air Force combat controller, a SOFLAM laser designator. He eases the crosshairs over a bunker a couple of thousand meters away and paints it. Just minutes later, the mountain air is split by a sound like ripping linen. A 2,000-pound paveway lands right on the mark. The pair of US Navy F-14 Tomcats unleash more laser-guided bombs at O'Keefe's command.
Probably fucking JDAMs.
A fully loaded B-1B Lancer checks in next, and soon, dozens of aircraft are operating over Tora Bora.
Oh my god.
All under the command of one man and his laser designator.
Oh my god.
Over the next 56 hours, the team will call in a staggering...
The pilots were feasting. They were like, it's open season, boys! Oh my goodness. I knew that we got Osama. I just didn't know that all of this shit was what led up to that.
380 tons of airdrops.
The pilots were like, I'm sick of these motherfucking mountains in this motherfucking country.
Pulverizing fighting positions, smashing through caves, and killing untold scores of Al-Qaeda militants. At their headquarters, Jawbreaker's commander and New York native, Gary Bernstein, listens to the avalanche of airstrikes with grim satisfaction. One word kept pounding in my head: revenge. Jawbreaker's strikes have kicked off what is hoped to be the final stage of...
That's so much ordnance. Oh my god. So much ordnance.
Operation Enduring Freedom.
I'm jealous that I didn't get to see it for myself.
The United States intervention in Afghanistan started less than a month after the September 11th attacks. Weeks, a handful of US and allied special forces, working with anti-Taliban militias, toppled the Taliban government and seized Kabul.
I wonder how many civilians in Afghanistan that didn't really give a rat shit about the existence of America or even what we stand for. I wonder how many civilians in Afghanistan, they saw the towers fall and they were like, fuck, they're gonna know it's us. They're gonna know it's someone from here. They're coming. They're on their fucking way. God damn it.
But the world's most wanted man, Osama bin Laden, is still on the run. US intelligence assesses that surviving Taliban and Al-Qaeda leaders are fleeing to Tora Bora, next to the Pakistani border, long a training ground and safe haven for bin Laden's group. He has planned this battle for years and has chosen his ground carefully. The task of hunting them down falls first to Team Jawbreaker, made up of field personnel drawn from the Counter-Terrorism Center and the secretive Special Activities Division.
CIA and SOF. That's terrifying. Shitting my pants.
It's led by hard-charging CIA field officer Gary Bernstein. He delegates the Tora Bora operation to part of the force designated Jawbreaker Juliet, under the command of a Texan and former Marine known only as George. US Central Command's entire strategy centers on having as few troops in Afghanistan as possible, so the locals are to take the lead. Jawbreaker Juliet arrives in Jalalabad to link up with a friendly militia leader called...
Holy, I've been there before. Jalalabad?
Hazrat Ali.
We just called it J-Bad, for short.
Ali is an experienced warrior, having successfully resisted the Taliban for the last 5 years. Also brought aboard...
I want that guy on my team.
...is Haji Zaman, freshly arrived from his exile in Paris. He claims to be able to raise 1,000 men.
Go get him. Bring La Familia. And I love how eager they were. Bro, I'm telling you, they knew. I know it was Osama. I know it was Osama. He has forsaken us. Fuck this guy. When the Americans get here, we're gonna help him. We're gonna help look for this motherfucker so we can get him the fuck out so that the Americans can leave.
The two Afghans are from different tribes and both view each other with deep suspicion. Both seek political influence in a post-Taliban Afghanistan. A rivalry that at times seems...
Oh, so y'all are trying to gain political influence so that y'all can be politicians, but y'all can't do that because of all the political violence that exists within the country. So you got to get rid of the motherfuckers that would try to unseat you, I suppose. They just want to break resistance so that they can make the country better. The CIA is actually looking for bin Laden. They could give a shit either way, whether they find him or not.
On the 4th of December, as O'Keefe and his team keeps up the aerial barrage, Hazrat Ali attacks without coordinating with the Americans or the rest of the Eastern Alliance militia.
I'm sorry, I gotta go back and listen to that one more time.
On the 4th of December, as O'Keefe and his team keeps up the aerial barrage, Hazrat Ali attacks without coordinating with the Americans or the rest of the Eastern Alliance.
You're gonna get fucked up by Danger Close by doing that.
Militias. Al-Qaeda fighters man mountaintop observation posts of their own, and Ali's forces, exposed at the foot of the mountains, are driven back by devastating fire from pre-sighted mortars and T-62 tanks. To provide more direct support, Ali is assigned ODA 572, a team of 12 US Army Green Berets. On the 7th of December, half of the team relieves the 4-man Jawbreaker team, establishing observation post Cobra Alpha north of the Milawa Valley. The other half infiltrates into the mountains to the west, creating a second observation post, codenamed Cobra Bravo, staring into—
You know how annoyed the Taliban have to be right now on these mountains? These aircrafts are like mosquitoes that won't die. They have to take it, and there's nothing they can do about it. They can't shoot these things down. That'd be the luckiest RPG shot of all time.
To the depth of Al-Qaeda's defenses. While intelligence is confident that Al-Qaeda's leadership and potentially bin Laden are holed up in the valley, little else is certain. The Taliban are in disarray, but still battle-hardened. Al-Qaeda at this time is the world's most formidable terrorist group, formed—
Battle-hardened. Really? Are they, though? It's easy to hide inside of a fucking cave for 18 weeks and call yourself invincible. You little— I'm gonna put a bell on you. Creature cases. Go watch your creature cases. They will be out there in a little while.
Okay, dude.
So stop calling me dude. Go.
On the other hand, the Eastern Alliance fighters now surrounding the Tora Bora mountains have little motivation for the upcoming battle. According to one warlord, "My father told me, just go. We got there. I don't know what for. We had no food or anything." Unbelievably, many of the Haji Zaman's local fighters had been paid to help build Al-Qaeda's fortifications in the valley, and are still fond of the Saudi-born terrorist. In the desire to not put US troops on the ground, American leadership is attacking with deeply unmotivated, and in a lot of cases pro-Al-Qaeda fighters. While the Green Berets are getting into the fight, Zaman sends some of his men into Tora Bora and warns bin Laden of the coming attack, giving him 3 days to surrender or leave. Zaman believes this to be what is known as his Pashtun responsibility, a traditional code of conduct emphasizing honor unknown to his American visitors. Bernstein is concerned that bin Laden could slip across the mountains and over to Pakistan, and preventing this is not a task he trusts his newfound allies to do. He requests the deployment of 800 US Army Rangers to block the mountain passes, but this is declined.
Why?
General Tommy Franks at CENTCOM is worried that by introducing large numbers of US troops, they will alienate their Afghan allies. However, Jawbreaker is not—
What?
General Tommy Franks at CENTCOM is worried that by introducing large numbers of US troops, they will alienate their Afghan allies.
I don't know what that means. I feel like that would simply just embolden the allies even more. Like, oh man, we got help. Not only do we have help, we have Rangers. Not only do we have help and Rangers, we have a lot of them. How would that alienate the allies? I don't know, man. You're high rank. Maybe you know something I don't.
Jawbreaker is reinforced by Task Force 11, commanded by Major Thomas Greer.
And if this fucker slips into Pakistan, you can't get him. So, I mean...
Force 11 is composed of around—
we killed him, but still.
Around 40 operators, primarily from the US military's premier Special Operations Unit, Delta Force, augmented by 12 men from the United Kingdom's secretive Special Boat Service.
Nice.
Meeting at Hazrat Ali's headquarters, a schoolhouse in the foothills to the north, George urges him to attack. Waiting only gives bin Laden more time to escape. The self-styled general is hesitant. He demands more airstrikes and is concerned that if any of the newly arrived special forces are killed, the Americans will blame him of itself. To encourage Ali, George offers to use the largest bomb in the US inventory, the BLU-82 Daisy Cutter, to kickstart the attack, as well as a considerable cash incentive. As the Eastern Alliance prepares the next day's action, bin Laden sleeps soundly in a bunker on the valley floor. He made his name fighting the Soviets in Afghanistan in the 1980s, lionized by the Arab press after the relatively minor Battle of Jarji. The Sheikh, as he is called by
Yeah, we're not the Russians, dog.
his men, is confident he can recreate his earlier victory. But his rest turns to horror as, unable to move, he watches a deadly
Motherfucker thought that he could fend off a superior fighting force in modern times. Well, more modern than when it was whenever he fought the Russians.
scorpion crawl into his dugout. He bolts awake from the nightmare. Deeply spiritual, he sees the dream as a premonition of danger and abandons the bunker. Hazrat Ali, George, and other fighters gather on a ridge on the early morning of
Wow, that's where he was at? Oh my god. Look how close. Dog. That's where you were.
But his rest turns to horror as, unable to move, he watches a deadly scorpion
Unable to move? Do you have sleep paralysis?
He bolts
He
awake
did have dialysis, but
from the nightmare. Deeply spiritual, he sees the dream as a premonition of danger and abandons the bunker. Hazrat Ali, George, and other
that is so absurd. That is so absurd you couldn't make that shit up. And if you did, that would be a stupid fucking plot. It really would. That would be terrible writing. The reason that he left a really easy position for the enemy, us, to cap his ass was because he saw a scorpion in his bed, and because he's really spiritual, he decided to leave that area and retreat deeper into enemy territory. If you write that, that movie is bad. You can't even make that shit up. Look how close he was to CIA, Task Force 11, Special Forces, Delta Force. Look how close he was. And because of a goddamn scorpion.
daisy cutter tumbles from the rear ramp. The enormous 15,000-pound bomb detonates, the shockwave cracking across the valley.
That is absolutely insane. They dropped it right where he was, but because he saw a fucking scorpion in his bed, he was like, nah, this don't feel right. And he got out. That was the kill shot. And on some weird bullshit. That's crazy.
500 meters of ground is completely scorched, and shrapnel lands kilometers away. Insurgents in the neighboring caves hesitantly emerge from cover. The bunker complex has been vaporized. Watching in awe with them is Osama bin Laden. The Americans don't realize how close they were. Yet, several kilometers away, the daisy cutter is less impressive. Just a puff of dust and a rumble.
Why he didn't just hightail it straight to Pakistan after that bomb came literally inches away from killing him? Guys, a bomb of that magnitude, that you're inches away, pretty much. Even if those inches equate to actual miles, you're inches away from that. Like, look how close that was. Why he didn't hightail it across the border at this particular moment, I don't know. Maybe ego. Maybe he was feeling himself like, ha, they missed. I'm a genius. I'm good. I'm just going to keep moving around, or just, there's no way they'll find me. All right.
Ali and his fighters are underwhelmed, expecting a massive fireball. To make matters worse, the Afghans' radios burst to life with panicked chatter. Several of the militiamen ignored the danger area and were too close to the bomb. Ali's confidence in American firepower is deeply shaken. George rustles up more air cover. 3 B-52 Stratofortresses arrive within the hour, plastering surrounding hills with over 100 Mark 82 bombs, but the general decides to hold off another day. The long-awaited attack commences on the 10th of December. Given just 5 minutes warning, Major Greer dispatches.
Let's just say they do kill Obama. Let's say they do kill Osama on that first strike. What are their plans for verifying the death? Because let's just say that they did take him out on that first strike. These carpet bombs right here are irrelevant. Wasting munitions at this point. Americans don't know this, but how would y'all be able to tell?
3 men, A-Team leader Hopper, Admiral and Air
All right, we're moving now.
Force Combat Controller, and Adam Khan, CIA translator and former Marine. Their orders are simple: go where the general goes, provide close air support, and kill as many Al-Qaeda as you can. Designated Jackal Team, they bounce up the mountain road in their battered Toyota, catching up with the mass of Eastern Alliance fighters. The Afghan column is halted, exposed on the track, waiting for a T-55 tank to clear a disabled self-propelled AA gun off the road. Khan doesn't like what he sees and eases their truck into cover. No sooner are the 3 men on foot, Al-Qaeda mortar fire rains down. The Americans dive for the dirt.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying. Y'all had to, waste time getting this broken down vehicle out of the road.
While militia mill about. One group clumps together.
If the enemy was smart, they would have rigged that vehicle that y'all have to tow out of the way with explosives. Doesn't kill everyone, but it's definitely disorienting. And why is this one guy right here in this animation in the prone position? Y'all notice that? What does he see that all of these other guys don't? I'm sorry.
Together aimlessly until an 82mm round lands in their midst.
Oh shit.
After several tense minutes, the tank finally...
Yeah, see, there it is. Yeah, they definitely took my advice there. They didn't rig the vehicle, but they did have coverage on it. So as soon as they saw them trying to move that vehicle so they could go through, they unleash hell on this element.
The mountain path narrows.
Disorienting, but you won't kill everybody with it, so
the force abandons
fire
their
up
transport.
those small arms.
General Ali is nowhere to be seen. With no clear leader, the Americans attempt to organize random groups of Afghans. A well-placed Al-Qaeda...
God, you know how hard it is to... That in itself is a whole-ass mission.
A PKM machine gun pins down the militia, who clump together behind cover in large vulnerable groups, blindly firing their Kalashnikovs and RPGs in the general direction of the enemy.
Because that's all they know how to do.
Their style of
They can't aim for fuck.
fighting is largely performative, impressive to the hundreds of Western journalists swarming the country, but hardly decisive.
Just know that most of the Americans that died to the hands of Al-Qaeda and Taliban, just know that 95% of the time, it was on accident. They didn't actually... A lot of us, when we pull the trigger, man, we're aiming at what we decide to kill, right? These people, it's just... Did I hit something? Oh, I did. I hit that guy. That's what it is. It's usually on accident. When these people kill us or shoot us or injure us, and it's not an IED, it's usually on accident. These people aren't great or good or efficient on purpose. They're just not. Believe you me.
Meanwhile, Delta Force's mantra is speed, surprise, and violence of action. Admiral vectors a pair of Navy FA-18s onto the machine gun nest, obliterating it with a salvo of 1,000-pound JDAMs.
Oh!
Rocks crash down the mountainside
That shakes the whole earth, bro, those JDAMs.
as the Americans rush forward. Khan manages to corral a group of Afghans to come with him. Supported by more airstrikes, Jackal Team thrusts relentlessly into the heart of Tora Bora. But as the sun sinks lower in the sky, more and more of the Eastern Alliance fighters slip away, back down the mountain.
I don't think you guys realize just how insane this is. You're pushing forward on the enemy while engaging the enemy, while air support bombards the enemy at danger close, and you're pushing towards these bombardments. Y'all have any idea how crazy this is?
Signal specialists back at the schoolhouse intercept a startling message. Bin Laden is surrounded. Listening in to Al-Qaeda radio traffic, they locate Bin
Not really. He can still retreat and get away, but yes, technically surrounded.
Laden's position to within 10 meters, but he's on the move. George and Major Greer exchange a glance, not needing a word. The 33 Delta Force operators lock and load, clamber aboard their vehicles, and set off like hounds released from the slips.
Bro, oh my god.
Climbing up the dirt road, they meet a column of trucks and Toyotas coming the other way. The lead vehicle stops, and General Ali warmly greets the Delta Force officer. Neither he nor even his guide have any idea what he's saying. As quickly as they appear, they're gone. The Pashto-speaking guides figure out
General Ali, where the fuck are you going? The battle's the opposite direction.
what's happening. It's the holy month of Ramadan, and the Eastern Alliance has abandoned the battlefield to break the fast. In accordance with Islamic tradition, Muslims must fast through the day, and then ceremonially break the fast and eat at home with their family.
Yeah, they do this. However, I feel that some things in life are just sometimes a little too important. That's where General Ali's going. Unlucky for Osama, the Americans have no such traditions. We are not pausing your impending death for religion.
For the Afghan militiamen, war and the pursuit of the world's most wanted terrorist does not interrupt this, another failing of cultural understanding by the American commanders. Jackal Team is now alone, trapped behind enemy lines.
Well, I mean, we only had one opportunity to capture this motherfucker. I mean, it's just bad luck that Ramadan just so happened to coincide with this attack. You only had one chance. You only had one opportunity. You only had one window in time to get this, and I get it, but...
Unsure if it's nervous allies or flanking Al-Qaeda fighters, the three operators take cover in a brace of trees. All but 5 of the Eastern Alliance fighters have vanished. The tribal militants desperately blaze away at the shadows, until Adam Khan angrily orders a ceasefire, berating them for revealing their position. Hopper settles their nerves by showing the 5 militants his night vision goggles. Admiral talks an AC-130 Spooky onto the machine gun behind them, but a low base of cloud obscures the target. With no air support, Hopper makes the call. They signal the code word Warpath, alerting the task force that they are surrounded and attempting to break out. With that, they creep along the rock face and into the darkness. Further down the mountain, tracer fire cracks around Task Force 11. Taking cover, they realise that the wave of gunfire isn't aimed at them. Al-Qaeda fighters on the ridgelines and hills are firing at something else. What is anyone's guess, but it means they're oblivious to the Delta team right beneath them.
Wasting ammo too.
The Warpath call forces Greer to a decision point. He had planned to link up with the Eastern Alliance that supposedly had Bin Laden surrounded, but there's no sign of such a force. He can go for Bin Laden's suspected position 2,500 meters away, or he can search for his men, missing in a mountain range, crawling with enemies and equally dangerous allies. The Major concludes, "We'll have another shot at Bin Laden. We need to concentrate on recovering our boys first." They stealthily weave through the chaos towards Jackal Team's last known location, ignoring the crump of mortars and the constant chatter of gunfire all around. Greer's force picks up Jackal's radio transmissions and locates them. Hopper, Admiral and Khan are in good shape, having bribed and negotiated their way past Eastern Alliance stragglers. Only 2 of the Afghans are left with them. With Task Force 11 back together, they return back down the mountain to the schoolhouse, but it's a night Major Thomas Greer will second guess for the rest of his life. After ceding all of their day's gains back to Al-Qaeda at night, the Eastern Alliance is back in action on the 11th of December. Both General Ali...
They could have had it right there, and because of fucking Ramadan, bro, they couldn't complete the mission.
And Haji Zaman have their sights set on Hill 2685.
Had they had General Ali's help, maybe that turns out differently.
The warlords hold competing press conferences at the foot of the mountains for the assembled international media, before they lead their forces in a race for the summit. Forming a steady cab rank of air support, Hornets and Tomcats from carriers in the Gulf of Oman, and B-1 and B-52 strategic bombers flying from Diego Garcia constantly check in. They dispense their precision-guided bombs on anything designated by the Green Berets, then check out. Al-Qaeda fighters impotently fire RPGs skyward, trying to hit the aircraft circling thousands of feet.
They call this the Battle of Tora Bora. Bro, this is a war inside of a war.
Out of range.
Fuck a battle.
Zaman's fighters reach the summit of Hill 2685 first, and clear the trenches of surviving Al-Qaeda fighters with surprising ruthlessness. A dejected Ali holds the lower ridges around the peak, yet the loss of the hill and the unrelenting airstrikes shakes Bin Laden's confidence. For the lightly equipped Al-Qaeda fighters, conditions are dire. With a steady snowfall, the temperature sits at -10 degrees Celsius. Almost all of their water supply has frozen. Lighting fires will only invite American bombs. Despite media depictions of vast underground complexes, the fortifications are unable to withstand the bombardment, and casualties are mounting. Injured men are perishing overnight of otherwise survivable wounds. Al-Qaeda only has
Propaganda. Telling the rest of the world, nah, we're good. The Americans aren't fucking us up that bad. No, dude, we are raping y'all.
one doctor, and are so short of supplies that he is forced to perform surgery with
Capital R.
scissors. Coalition
No
forces
condom.
listen in as bin Laden broadcasts a somber message. I am sorry for getting you involved in this battle. If you can no longer resist, then you may surrender with my blessing. The crisis is weighing heavily on the Sheikh himself. With airstrikes reverberating across the mountains, he sits down to write his last will and testament. He thanks his 4 wives for their support, and apologizes
He had to write 4 whole fucking letters, man.
to his sons.
Or maybe he addressed all of them in one letter. I feel like that's what I would do. Maybe my favorite wife would get her own personal letter, and then the other 3 would just get, like, I don't know, and already typed one up that I copy and pasted, but...
his absence. He begs them not to follow his path of jihad, and to stay away from Al-Qaeda.
Hold on, he wrote that to his children?
And apologizes to his sons for his absence. He begs them not to follow his path of jihad, and to stay away from Al-Qaeda.
If this was your belief, then why did you even... Couldn't you have started doing good prior to all of this, man? Talking to a dead person here, but... You know what I'm saying? Does that really sound like someone who truly believed in what he was doing his whole life? Because if he truly believed it, he would have told his sons, avenge me! Follow my path and crush the despicable Americans. He didn't do that. And unlike Hitler, he actually took his punishment from Americans. So that doesn't sound like someone who's fully invested in the cause. Saying like, oh, this isn't what it was, stay away from these people, they'll corrupt you, they'll take you down a path and a life of destruction.
Led by a man known only as Sergeant Major Jim. Consisting of 25 Delta and 4 SBS operators, an assault team and snipers, their mission is to push deeper into the mountains, taking over...
Or maybe he's lying and he didn't have a change of heart and he just said that because he didn't want his children to look at him differently, I guess. Some would say that he had a change of heart at the very end, or maybe he's just trying to save face.
Forward air control duty from the Green Berets. As Grinch joins Saman's men on Hill 2685, the Army Special Forces score one last victory. They spot the troublesome Al-Qaeda mortars.
I do wonder how his sons feel about damn near the whole world celebrating the death of their father, though.
On their thermal sights. They calculate their position and vector in an orbiting AC-130. They watch with satisfaction as the aerial...
Probably the same way we felt whenever we saw them celebrating the fall of the towers.
Barrage ignites secondary explosions from the mortar pits. Unbeknownst to the Americans, Zaman and Al-Qaeda are negotiating. They aren't aware that culturally for the Afghan warriors, negotiating a conditional surrender, allowing the enemy to lay down their weapons and walk away, is traditionally how battles end.
Nah, dude. You either deliver us Osama, or we are going to run through your whole fucking army with malicious intent. There's a lot of stuff in here that I had no idea about, that I had no clue about, simply because whenever President Obama came out and said that we got him, that's all I really needed to hear. I was like, fuck yeah, we got him. Fuck that guy. Cool. Nice work, firm handshakes all around. Let's move on. I didn't know any of this shit.
Sergeant Major Jim orders his men to get moving, but Zaman's fighters surround them, leveling their Kalashnikovs. Khan manages to ease the standoff, but Zaman insists that the team stays put. News of the ceasefire spreads rapidly.
Y'all know we can kill y'all in the blink of an eye, right? Without even breathing, but alright. Let's play your stupid ass idea and see how that goes. Yeah, let's start negotiating.
Jawbreaker Commander, CIA officer...
Once you drop a 500-pound bomb, we're done negotiating.
Gary Bernstein, with bin Laden almost in his grasp.
And look, while you motherfuckers want to goddamn negotiate and make deals with Al-Qaeda, look where Osama's going. Further into enemy territory, closer to the fucking border.
Rages over the radio. No ceasefire, no negotiation.
Yeah.
We continue airstrikes.
You fuckers. And I swear to turn your guns on me one more goddamn time, I'll kill you here and say you are the enemy. Dog, you're hindering the process. You're slowing us down. And if you're slowing us down, you're the enemy.
the Americans are already wary of Zaman. He allegedly allowed Al-Qaeda fighters safe passage in earlier days fighting. Khan and
yet, like, the things that you're doing are actively working against our plan. So you either get with the program or we shoot you, or we take you off the battlefield.
Zaman tells the Americans that the ceasefire has been agreed.
See, this is why I didn't like working with anyone that wasn't an interpreter, as far as like locals or military or police when I was in this country, because you get shit like this. Stupid, dumb, ass backwards shit that's just gonna slow you the fuck down. That's why I didn't like working with ANA. I didn't like working with ANP. I didn't like working with any of those fucking locals that had any capacity or any capacity for law enforcement or military or even had a weapon. Dog shit, man. For like a big majority. You know, you got a couple of like outliers like Jamshid, but outside of that, dude, this is such a pain in the ass.
Until 5 p.m. to give Al-Qaeda time to come down from the mountains. However, it comes to light that he has been talking to the media.
Fuck that. We'll take you off the mountain. We got bombers.
About a new ceasefire until 8 a.m. on the 13th. The Americans will not tolerate this. Zaman leaves for the schoolhouse to meet with an equally unhappy.
It's like you're trying everything in your power to make sure that we don't get to Osama. Yo, fuck you. Get off the battlefield. You're not helping.
George and Greer. 5 p.m. arrives. The mountain passes are empty. No one is surrendering. MSS Grinch grab their M4 rifles. Jim, with a stony gaze.
This is one thing that ANP and ANA, they had a hard time grasping with. For 20 years, guess who that country belonged to, guys? Us. That country didn't belong to the locals. That country didn't belong to the Taliban. That country didn't belong to Al-Qaeda. That country belonged to the US of A. And it took these ANP and these ANA quite a while to realize that. See, they thought that because it was their country that they could make the rules and say what went. But we're goddamn America. And we didn't have to come here, but this little fuckboy is the reason we're here. And you're actively getting in the way, preventing us from capturing him, so fuck you too.
Warns the Afghan left in charge. Don't raise your weapons at us. In minutes, the American and British operators are back in the fight. Split in teams of 4, Grinch presses along rugged hillsides and over the valleys, calling J-dams on any resistance they meet.
Or any supposed friendly that wants to aim their guns at me while I'm trying to get rid of the one bastard fucking up their country. Yeah, makes so much sense.
Team runs into a Dishka machine gun, smacking 50.
God, that Dishka is gnarly.
One team runs into a Dishka machine gun, smacking 50 caliber rounds into the sharp rocks scattered on the knife edge ridge, battling the early symptoms of altitude sickness. The men go to ground, as one of the SBS commandos calls in a 1,000-pound GBU-32 guided bomb from an orbiting fighter.
Damn!
As frustrating as the Eastern Alliance's ceasefire debacle has been,
and that's kind of what you have to do against a Dishka, believe you me. You do not want to take your M4, your M16, or anything smaller than that. Even if you had your own 50 cal machine gun, you don't want to duke it out with this thing at all. Like shot for shot? No, man.
Americans do have cause for celebration. The fact that Al-Qaeda is even negotiating means they're on the ropes. But it also means that bin Laden and...
No. They might be on the ropes, but that's no point to take the gas off the pedal. What's that? What's it from? Isn't it from the Boondocks? You were talking that good shit a minute ago. Yeah, keep the same energy. You're about to get fucked on. There is no negotiations. Negotiations are over.
Other leaders may now try...
I'm pretty sure at one point we were like, hey, give up Osama, and y'all quite possibly said fuck you. Negotiations end after that point.
Mountain passes into Pakistan, but this is rejected. Another 8 SBS commandos and an MI6 field officer arrive to support Haji Zaman. Behind closed doors, the British officer makes it crystal clear.
God, dude. We have just about almost every single agency except for ATF on this battlefield. A lot went into this, dude. A lot.
To Zaman.
A lot went into killing one fucking person. That's nuts.
That there will be no repeat of his prior actions. It pushes up the western side of the mountains, relieving the Green Berets at Cobra Bravo. Greer is excited at the prospect of reinserting ODA 572 somewhere else, but they are immediately withdrawn. The signals analysts intercept bin Laden's voice on the radio again.
And bin Laden's kind of stupid. Not at no point did it occur to him to just go to the border, to just go into Pakistan.
American airstrikes, as the battle devolves into a brutal close-quarters slog, rooting out the fanatical Al-Qaeda remnants, making their final stands in the dozens of caves and spider holes. Their deaths buy time. Taliban and Al-Qaeda leaders scramble up the snow-covered passes under the sharp peaks of the Svingar Mountains to safely enter Pakistan. The same passes.
There we go. They finally woke up and smelled the coffee.
Bernstein wanted covered by US Army Rangers, and also the same passes that Delta Force wanted to deny with airdrops.
But our Special Forces guys can run 2 miles in less than 13 minutes. How fast can you run, Osama? they're chasing you, dog.
Bernstein estimates that at least 200 Al-Qaeda fighters escape into Pakistan. Task Force 11 scrambles to make up for lost time as the weather clears on the 15th. MSS Grinch is working with General Ali's men when they stop on a ridgeline. They refuse to advance until a Dishka machine gun position on the opposite ridge has been cleared.
I'm telling you, bro, it's nothing to fuck with.
The gun hasn't fired for hours and has already been struck.
It doesn't
But the
matter.
Afghans are having none of it and sit down, some to smoke hash. 3 Delta Force.
See, this is why I didn't like doing anything with those people. They're trying to make up for lost time. They're starting to move. They encounter a Dishka, right? Oh, we need to get this Dishka off the battlefield because again, that's not a weapon system that you want to challenge. And while everyone else is making plans and doing shit, you know what the Afghans are doing? Smoking weed. Smoking weed on the battlefield. How useful do you think you would be on a battlefield? High out of your mind. I suppose that is a peaceful death.
Listening in on the radios from their new vantage point, MSS Grinch realizes they can see the cave network in question. Admiral wastes absolutely no time, taking a roll call of all available aircraft. From across Afghanistan and the Arabian Sea, dozens of aircraft are ready for tasking. US Air Force Strike Eagles from Kuwait, Navy Tomcats and Hornets flying from the carriers Kitty Hawk, Theodore Roosevelt and Carl Vinson, and more of the strategic bombers, both B-1B Lancers and B-52 Stratofortresses from Diego Garcia. Within minutes, the aircraft are stacked at 1,000-foot intervals, just waiting for the word. On the hilltop, the atmosphere is electric, as the first call of weapons away crackles over the net. MSS Grinch might be about to obliterate Osama bin Laden. Explosions rip across the landscape. The first 2,000-pound JDAMs smash their designated coordinates. Exposed fighting positions are wiped out in minutes. JDAMs fitted with bunker-busting BLU-109 warheads punch through the bedrock and detonate deep inside the tunnels as Grinch operators adjust their
Good God!
SOFLAMs onto more targets. Admiral fights to make himself heard over the constant ear-splitting cacophony of shockwaves ripping overhead.
Remember, guys, we shot this fucker in the head. Look at all this. Look at what led up to it. Look how much we dropped, only to still have to use small arms just to kill him.
Fall from the wings of Navy fighters and plunge through 30,000 feet, steered into the mouths
I don't know how he survived all this.
of caves. The explosive overpressure blasts through the depths, killing the occupants. For Al-Qaeda warriors, venturing outside means certain death. All they can do is burrow in terror as the firestorm of American bombs reverberates above them.
This is what you get.
Larger caverns are struck again and
You earned this, guys. You earned this.
again, and crumbling stone blocks the entrance.
And even if you had nothing to do with 9/11 and you were just following Osama, you earned this shit, dog.
Multiple Lancers and B-52s empty their entire bomb load on the besieged peaks. Secondary explosions erupt from beneath the collapsing mountainside. A searing flash of light signals the detonation of stored ammunition. Fragments of burning ordnance cascade across the valley. Only after a full 2 hours of carnage does the onslaught end. The dust and smoke slowly sets with the sun. Flickers of orange flames glow against the darkening sky. Admiral has nothing left to hit. The Afghan fighters drift away as usual, while Grinch
And you would think, right, like, we made an example out of Osama, right? Made an example out of this fighting force. And we made an example out of the whole fucking country. Someone in the future is gonna try this again. Look what happened after Pearl Harbor. That was a catastrophic attack on this country. Look how we responded. Look at 9/11. Another equal, quite possibly even worse catastrophic attack on this country, and look how we responded. Is there anyone else around the planet that wants to find out just how emotional we get when you fuck with the homeland? Is there any other takers? Right? Because looking at this, you would think that every terrorist around the world would be like, all right, man, we're gonna do some terrorist shit, but we're gonna stay away from the West, okay? Stay away from the West. All of our terrorist activities, we're just gonna do it on this side of the planet, okay? But no. There's gonna be another one that y'all are gonna test the boundaries of our patience and our goodwill. And bro, we have wasted millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in ordnance for one person because fuck you. Yet for some dumbass reason, there's going to be another dumb motherfucker in the future that is going to try America in the same way and is going to get the same just, quick response. If I see someone get fucked up like this, bro, I'm never fucking with that person. Ever again. I'm never fucking with the person that just beats your ass just like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
braces for another long, freezing night on the mountain. By the 17th of December 2001, the fighting around Tora Bora has ended, the last weary al-Qaeda fighters surrendering. No one in the US government is sure where bin Laden and his closest advisors are.
And it's just so funny that, like, we could have actually killed him very quickly, but all of this ordnance and all of these bombs still would have been dropped regardless, I feel.
Hope that bin Laden lies dead under the rubble and simply hasn't been identified. Another Green Beret team is deployed to scour the mountainsides and identify bodies, but to no avail. Of particular attention is the site of the massive 15th of December airstrike, but no human remains matching bin Laden's DNA are found. In the wake of Tora Bora, administration figures backpedal. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld claims that no one knew for certain that bin Laden was there, even though US Central Command staff reports that he would phone at least once a day to ask, "Did you get him?" But bin Laden was there. According to journalist and counter-terrorism expert Peter Bergen, late at night on the 12th of December as the ceasefire silenced the battlefield, the Sheikh and two of his sons crept out of their bunker and slipped out of Tora Bora undetected. Keeping a low profile, unhindered by bodyguards, they then managed to travel 30 miles, not to Pakistan as expected, but incredibly north to the Afghan city of Jalalabad, behind coalition lines.
If that's Jalalabad, I was somewhere over my first deployment. If that's J-Bad, I was like somewhere over here.
He sheltered with an old friend, a warlord by the name of...
Why he stayed in Afghanistan makes no fucking sense. You commit a crime, and instead of leaving the state, you went to your neighbor's house. Alright, cool. Only matter of time.
Awal Ghul. From there, bin Laden travels on horseback 100 miles to a remote location in Kunar province, where he would lay low for...
What? That's where I was. Okay, so if this is Jalalabad, I was somewhere right here. Right. Because I think this might be Iran. I was in the Kunar province at Fob Joyce, actually.
For several weeks, protected by another old friend from the Soviet-Afghan War. On the 15th of April 2002, a tape proving Osama bin Laden is alive and well is aired on Arabic news network Al Jazeera. The failure of Tora Bora sparks a manhunt that will last a decade.
Because, oh wow, we didn't even kill him there. I thought that eventually we would kill him during or slightly after this battle, or maybe the battle extends to up here, but no, this is what happened. The Americans felt embarrassed that we just unleashed hell on you. We unleashed hell on you, and you didn't die. Us looking for you, and that's why you got a bullet to the face, because we tried brute force. It didn't work. Had to become a lot more precise after that failure of Tora Bora, which you can't really call Tora Bora a failure minus how much ammunition we actually spent not knowing that he was there. Was he there? Yes, but we didn't know. And we're willingly using all of this ordnance. Some people could call this a failure, some people could call this a success. It's just very unlucky we didn't get him on the first strike. We could have. A whole bunch of fuck shit, a whole bunch of unlucky situations, Ramadan happening. This isn't a good area to try to find someone or kill someone. Man, the mountains, I think it's a success and a failure all at the same time, depending on how you look at the situation. I didn't really see too much of a, like, bro, we tried. We had his location, we dropped a bomb, he just so happened to move. A and P, they were helpful to a degree. Sometimes they got in the way, sometimes they hindered the process. The whole negotiation arc of this whole fucking story was bullshit. And so we did the best we could with what we had, but it was still considered a failure. And so that sparked 10 years of us vigorously looking for you and only you. Here's the real question. If we kill Osama right here, do we leave Afghanistan? Think about it. We spent 20 years in Afghanistan. We spent extra time in Afghanistan after Osama was dead. It begs the question, did we have plans to go to Afghanistan off rip already? To some people, the whole goal is to find this man. Well, guess what? We did, and we killed him, but we never left Afghanistan once we killed him, and the country evolved. The Taliban and Al-Qaeda evolved, right? And all we did was just cut the head off of a snake, and another one's just gonna grow in its place, right? That's how that goes. I don't know. Do we stay in Afghanistan if we kill him right here, or do we leave? Job well done, ladies and gentlemen. We got this motherfucker. Let's go home. But what if he doesn't get away? What if we snuff him out right there in that moment? Do we stay in Afghanistan for 20 years? Said perfectly right here. Sometimes you learn about a historical event and just have to shake your head in disbelief and frustration. The fact that we didn't have a brigade from the 82nd and a full battalion of Rangers all jump in and cut off bin Laden is criminal. See, like, that's what I'm saying. They were going to send in the Rangers, and then that one general or whoever the fuck that was makes the decision of, like, no, if we put the Rangers here, a large element like that will, what was the bullshit that he said? A large element like that will destroy morale with the allies? How does that even make sense? It's almost like that guy wanted fucking Osama to escape too. Hey, we should really cover the border because if he escapes to Pakistan, we'll never get him. Nah, it's fine. We don't want to ruin the relationship with allies. How does that make sense? Someone explain that to me. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, when I heard that, I was just like, and now that I'm thinking about it after seeing the video, it almost seems like you were in on it. Maybe you wanted him to escape so we could spend an additional 80 billion years in Afghanistan. Huh? One could make that argument. This battle provided enough red flags that Afghanistan would not be worth fighting for. It's not worth fighting with. I don't want them on my team, ever. If America ever goes to war with someone that the people of Afghanistan also hate, and Afghanistan says, hey, you want our help? We're all set. The bigger mistakes of the war was allowing the locals to run point on that battle. The biggest mistake is allowing them to run point on anything. Bro, anything. It gets fucked up 99% of the time. And you would think that with CIA, Special Forces, Delta Force there, they would actually tell these people, fuck you, we run this country. Because as an E4 that's not Special Operations, that's what I told everybody too. Get the fuck out of the way, ANA. This road belongs to Americans. Get the fuck out of the road, AMP. This whole area belongs to us. This is our dojo. You're just a guest. I know it's your country, but it doesn't work like this anymore. You can't control your country. We do now, okay? So, fuck out of here with your negotiations, your ideas, none of that. You shouldn't even be in charge. You were in charge, and look where your country's at. We're in charge now. I'm so surprised that these special operators didn't just, like, tell these guys to get fucked. Why? I told these guys to get fucked all the time, and I wasn't Special Forces. What? The behavior of Zaman and his soldiers is infuriating. It is. Get out of the way. If you're in the way, you're an enemy. I just might shoot you in that situation, man, because you're further putting our lives in danger. And my logic is, if you're putting my life in danger, and I remove you from existence, my life is no longer in danger because I've removed that one thing that was putting me in danger. Make sense? I do think that's fascinating. I think it's fascinating to hear that bin Laden wanted his sons to avoid jihad. Makes you wonder what kind of regrets he had about his own actions, which I never thought he could have had, right? I thought this guy was just a monster through and through. The fact that I heard that just adds a little more depth to his character as a person and who he was. it's easy to make this dude seem like a despicable villain, but he actually has nuance to his life and to his actions and to the way that he lived. Am I excusing anything he did? Fuck no, but it is cool to see, fascinating to see a little bit of depth to what we think is an easy black and white type of character. The sheer stupidity of not wanting to deploy 800 Rangers. I'm so glad I wasn't the only one. And in that moment, I was like, well, maybe Chain of Command knows something that I don't, and I'm just speaking because I don't have all the proper information. That's such a stupid fucking thing that you don't need the proper information. More soldiers is better every single time unless you're doing something covertly. But you just dropped the mother of all bombs. Covert is out of the fucking question. What are we even talking about? We were this fucking close. Yep. This fucking close to killing him in one go. And again, we kill him in one go. Do we stay in Afghanistan or do we leave? I have theories. I have so many theories on why we even went, why we stayed, why we were there for so fucking long. And some of those theories have zero to do with 9/11 and zero to do with fucking Osama bin Laden. It's just something they put into our face to give us a boogeyman so that we could go in a war that we didn't need to go into, because war makes money. That's besides the point. It's insane to process. This man escaped basically an entire war coming solely for him unscathed, right? And not just lazy air bombing, but actual boots on the ground and pinpoint accuracy with your air bombing. Yeah, he wasn't going up against amateurs, bro. He was going up against the most elite fighting force that the world has ever seen. He ducked that shit. Like Floyd Mayweather, bro. Just stayed in the pocket, stayed composed, and got the fuck out. However, I feel like the only reason he did do that is because the negotiations and the not sending in 800 troops and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I feel like the only people that were actually wanting to kill Osama bin Laden were the people there that were American. The people in Washington, they were like, I don't know if we should send Rangers. The locals, they were like, hey, let's go get high. The fucking general, he's like, oh, let's just talk to him. Well, we can talk to him, right? The only people on ground that wanted to kill Osama were Americans. Everybody else could have been fucked. They couldn't have been fucked. They couldn't have been bothered. They were just like, all right, we're here, man. What's up? What's up? What's the good? What's going on? Unreal, dude. Unreal. Okay, that's enough comments. They're about as annoyed as I am with this whole fucking debacle. I knew that we had killed Osama, and that's fucking fantastic, but I didn't know not even a fucking percentage of the information that I was just told here. That is shameful. Maybe that's why we did stay in Afghanistan for so long. Because we failed to kill Osama. Took us 10 whole fucking years to find him, and when we did find him and kill him, people were probably asking the same question. So does that mean we're gonna leave now? Oh, no, we actually weren't here to kill Osama. That was just a bonus. We didn't actually fail. Our main mission is actually this country and bringing democracy to this country. We actually weren't here to kill Osama. So, if you're saying that we failed, that's not actually a failure. That wasn't our main mission, right? So we're gonna stay so that you can forget about our massive failure. We're going to stay in this country and say that it's for everything but Osama so that you can think that we didn't fail our one main and only mission. Maybe that's why. Maybe us staying, maybe there's no conspiracy. Maybe there's nothing nefarious at all. Maybe us staying was just America's way of saving face after that massive failure. Oh, no, we weren't here to kill Osama. Yeah, it took a long time, but we're actually here for something else. Maybe. And that's why we stayed the whole time. If they can even walk, they're stoned out of their gourd.
Afternoon, a frantic Afghan commander reports a tall man.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. One time, when I was in Afghanistan, tried some hash. Me and a buddy, three buddies actually, had gotten from this local that worked at the bazaar. And right before he left the installation, he gave us hash in exchange for American cigarettes. I gave him like 5 packs of Newports. My buddy gave him like 5 packs of Marlboro Reds, and my other buddy, I think, gave him a flashlight or something. Flashlight or some kind of Gerber knife. He gave us hash. We had nothing to do that night. We weren't on mission. We weren't even on tower guard. It was kind of just like a dead night. We smoked. And I got to tell you, I didn't have fun. The only thing I could do the entire 2 hours that I was stoned was think about how fucked I would be if we got attacked and I was high. And that was the last time I ever did. I was so anxious. I was so scared. I was so like paranoid. I was like, if we get attacked, I'm fucked. If we get attacked, I die. I can't move. And so, yeah. But never, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean fucking never, on mission. There was this one mission where we did a foot patrol up the mountains to check on the ANA guys up there that had checkpoints and like little huts. They would monitor the top of the mountain because we were at the base. We would go up there weekly, health and welfare, take them ammo if they needed it, blah blah blah. Make sure they were still alive. One day we went up there. We were just chilling. We got offered. Some of us accepted. I accepted. Tea was laced with hash because that's what they do up there, bro. They just get high all day. That's all they do is smoke weed. I drank the tea. And then on the way back down the mountain, I was so high, I fell, I rolled like 8-10 feet. My friends laughed at me. I was super stoned. I was super annoyed. I was super mad. I was like, dude, being high when you don't plan on getting high is not fun. It's just not. You have to like want to be like, yep, getting baked, right? And it's good. But when you get stoned in a place you're not supposed to be, in a situation you're not supposed to be, and you didn't even see it coming, it's a completely different experience. It sucks balls. It's like, so yeah, twice I was high when I was in Afghanistan. One wasn't a full-blown mission. It was just, a little small foot patrol. The other one I was on the fob. Again, I would be unfucking functional on the battlefield like this. I don't know how.